Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad to welcome you as part of our community tonight. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and distributed live stream. By entering this virtual meeting room, you give your consent to be recorded and distributed by Simeon Moro EU and other third parties. If you prefer to not be recorded, please turn off your camera and microphone and or go to the Facebook live video feed, the link to which I will now place in the chat room. For a better experience, please turn off your microphone and set your video to gallery view. Tonight, our featured guest is Roberto Genova, a saxophonist and conductor. Also joining us tonight is Professor Lino Rivera of St. Mary's College of California. Roberto, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit, Roberto, tell us about yourself, where you come from and what you do.
So I'm actually from Italy. I live since 4 years in Bergamo. And before I had a long period of my life living in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam for 11 years. And then I came back to my country to continue actually researching, playing music, conduct, and also giving lessons, teaching. So also sharing what my experience is and what are my studies actually. And I like music in the really wild sense of the word. So I really mean all the kind of music, all the kind of good music. And I'm really fortunate to play saxophone, which is a really versatile and special instrument that you can use to play really many different kind of music. Also
tell us a little bit about the saxophone, Roberto. Why is it that you chose the saxophone? You're an Italian. Shouldn't you play something like violin or something with an Italian name?
Yeah, that's also true. Or accordion, no? It's also really common. Well, actually, it was just by chance that I started to play saxophone because I wanted to play something, and I was completely in love with flute. Just, you know, the little flute that you play, at least here in Italy, at the school when you are 10, 12 years old. But then I wanted to somehow to play in a group, in a bigger ensemble than just on my own at home. And then I went to the local fanfare, to the local wind band. And well, they told me, well, we are actually looking for saxophones. So why don't you start to play saxophone? Then I went in my book at home to look, yeah, how it's what is the form of this instrument, and then I found it. Oh, that's nice, like that. And then, yeah, I just felt immediately in love with that, and since then I never left my instrument actually. So
got it. So it's kind of a passion with saxophonists. It's like you really fall in love with the whole family of the saxophones, the alto saxophone, soprano saxophone, baritone, and you don't really think about other instruments so much. You guys really stick together. You have even a saxophone ensemble that we'll hear from in a little bit. Is that right?
It's right, Simeon. Indeed, thanks that you mentioned that. Actually, it's a family. You know, it's an instrument that it's invented by Adolf Sax, a Belgian actually instrument maker, and it has really a patent. So it's really an instrument that was registered and invented in 1840. So it's also a modern instrument, let's say. And he really designed and invented 7 different sides of saxophone, which are the one actually we are still playing, of course, with some new mechanical and new tricks. But basically, if you go to the museum to see the saxophone that were built by him, looks really the same. So yeah, and that's another advantage of this instrument, that you can learn more than one voice, let's say, and really being a soprano, being an alto, tenor, baritone, and you can also go wider to the bass saxophone and to the sopranino, which is really high. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Could we hear a little bit?
Yeah, actually, I can play a piece of an Italian composer. It's called Giacinto Scelsi, and I'm going to play the first piece. It's tre pezzi, it's called, so 3 pieces, and this is the first movement with a soprano saxophone.
Roberto, I might have to stop you a moment. I think you have to change your microphone setting.
We already agree about that, Simeon, but I completely forgot. Okay, let's do it. Okay.
Okay. So Roberto, tell us what exactly is what kind of music is that? That's contemporary music. I take it does most saxophone music sound like that?
Well, actually, we call it, of course, contemporary music, but this piece is already 70 years old because it's dated 1956. But of course, we consider all the music after the Second World War, at least here in Europe, as a contemporary music. And of course, there are many composers that actually write similar to this language. So let's call it atonal. So music that we are not always used to listen. But of course, there are also many composers that compose more tonal music for saxophone. So nowadays, there are really plenty of different styles and different school of composing. This piece actually, and also Giacinto Scelsi Live, was a long research. Indeed, it's really famous to be the one that tried to play a single note in as many as possible way in terms of color, dynamics, nuances, and everything. And this piece, it's also in that kind of research, and it was also influenced by Indian and Middle East flavor, let's say. So, yeah.
It sounded like that. Sounded like music to charm a snake with. That was what went through my mind. So could you play just a few of those notes like you said? Could you play a little bit of that, what you said, changing the tone of one note, kind of changing one note and playing it in different ways?
Yeah, I can try. Now, I do it right. Okay. For instance, if you take this. Of course, with distance, it's not really the same than to be here, but I hope you got the.
I think it's clear, yes. So
7, 8 different way of playing the same note.
And how did you learn this music? Did you take a long time? And I mean, was it difficult to just focus on playing one note so many different ways?
Yeah, it's actually the basis of what must be able to do a musician actually to work with sound, or not only in contemporary music. This is also a word that I'm sure colleagues that play early music, for instance, they are also in use with that, because sounds are a live material. So you have to be able to work with that. In our case, for a saxophonist, it's all about embouchure, the way you use your tongue, the way you blow into the instrument, and all this. For strings, it's different. For a conductor, also, he kind of works with sounds, and then he's not producing a sound, but the orchestra in front of him or the ensemble. So it's actually all about that. Yeah.
Understood. So that's just common among musicians to be working with different shades of sound and producing different sounds in different ways. Understood. So tell us a little bit now about the saxophone as a classical instrument. I think most of us know the saxophone as a jazz instrument in a jazz band, something like that. And you focus on classical music. And tell us, what music might we know, most of us know the saxophone in, as classical music? Are there any famous classical music pieces that have saxophone?
Of course there are, because he was born actually as a classical instrument. The biggest problem of adult sax was to find good musicians able to play this new instrument. But luckily we had a few composers also from the 19th century that were completely in love with this instrument. So you make me think about orchestral repertoire, for instance. This one that you probably know, it's a famous piece. Well, let's see if someone maybe can guess the title.
You want to change the microphone?
That's true. Thank you. Wow, I see someone waving the head. So it's Ravel, Bolero, for instance, and well, just another one that maybe a little bit. Well, it's also quite played. And
So we have
one
Professor Lino Rivera writes Mussorgsky pictures at an exhibition.
Picture of an exhibition, exactly. Mussorgsky, Ravel, yeah. So we have also a few composers that already in the 19th century used the saxophone more in a ensemble setting. For instance, we have Bizet that used saxophone in the Arlésienne suite. We have Debussy that dedicated a piece to saxophone. We have a Rhapsody of Debussy. And of course, we have many minor composers that especially French composers, of course, because Aldo Sack was Belgian, but he lived in Paris for mostly he lived in Paris. So it was really going to all the composers to show this new instrument. And he was also teaching for a period in the Conservatoire de Paris, saxophone. And of course, he was also trying to make the saxophone part of the military wind orchestra of France and of Belgium, because of course it was all about also to build this instrument, to make it also economically sustainable, and there were also many nice competition and tests, like they were trying to listen a wind orchestra with the saxophone and another one without the saxophone, and they were able to judge, okay, this one is better. We have to realize that at that time it was really important for a country to have the best wind orchestra, the military band that shows the importance of the country. So it was also a competition between different countries. Yeah.
So tell us, Roberto, you also perform with orchestras. Tell us about that. What is that like, playing in an orchestra? And you're playing currently with an orchestra?
Well, I actually started to play in an orchestra when I was 18 years old. And since then, I never stopped. Of course, it's for saxophone, it's occasionally. So you can have 1 week production, or sometimes you can have 2 days production, and you have to be able to sneak in, and you have to be able really to be part of the group immediately. You have a really short time. The first piece I played, it was Shostakovich, because also we have the Russian schools that use the saxophone, Rachmaninoff, Shostakovich, Prokofiev. And I play, my first orchestra was indeed La Verdi Orchestra Sinfonica di Milano, so in Milan, where I started and when I'm still playing. And then I had also a lot of, I had also experience with Teatro Regio in Turin. I played with them several concerts and opera. Yeah.
Understood. And tell us a little bit about this upcoming concert you have with La Verdi Orchestra that we're going to.
Yeah, there is this. Yeah, there is this very nice, nice concert. It's going to be live streamed exactly the 21st of May, and there are 3 pieces. Maybe I can play a solo of one. There are 3 pieces with the saxophone. It's a film music, movie music, basically, but arranged for classical orchestra. And in 3 pieces, there is also saxophone. Of course, there is Morricone, Petrasso, which is a great Italian composer we had in the 20th century. And this Piccioni, which is, there is a nice solo. So actually, I think that concert you can just probably register in the website, and you can follow it for free. So it's all really nice music, and it's going to be the 31st of May.
And so would any of our participants know any of this music if they heard it? Roberto, are you there?
Yeah, no, sorry. I thought that you were talking to the participants. Sorry, I didn't.
No. This is a question
no, I
to
didn't
you.
understood well. Tell me.
Do you so these composers, Morricone, I've heard of. Is any of this? Could you play a little bit of this music for us, or is there anything
I
that
can
we would
play
recognize?
a little bit of Piccioni, because it's a wider part compared to Morricone, which is more. It's also solo, but it's in between, and you will not really catch the essence of the music if I play alone. So I prefer to play Piccioni, La Notte Brava, which is also, of course, movie music.
Fantastic. So very easy listening music. Great. So just so everybody knows, I put the link in the chat. All you have to do is click on this Segui il Concerto online, like Roberto was saying. And I think there it is. I think
there is also the English.
Okay.
I remember, as far as I remember. So, but it's, I mean, music, it's international language.
So you might have to work on your Italian if you want to see this concert.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So Roberto, now tell us about Bergamo. You're not from Bergamo originally. I believe you're from the Piedmont region. What brought you to Bergamo?
Indeed, I'm from Maggiore Lake, also a nice place in the north of Italy. Well, actually, when I was still living in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, I made a competition in order to win a teaching position, because here in Italy, if you want to teach in the state school, in the public school, then you need basically to make a competition, and a specific course also in the conservatory. And well, once again, it's like why I played saxophone. It was incidentally in Lombardia, so this region, there were 4 positions for saxophonist. So that's why I applied here. And you know, it was a long process, because then after 2 years, then I've got this position in the Liceo musicale. And then I decided it was a good chance to come back in my country, and I settled here in Bergamo. And well, I would say that I knew Bergamo a bit. I was here as a tourist, and I had good memories, but I didn't know really well the city. And well, actually, I love it because it's not really big. It's 100,000 inhabitants, more or less. And it has also a really nice historical part built on a hill. And it's it's really fascinating. Medieval, it's really like in the Middle Ages. It's like in the Middle Ages, stops the time. And there is, of course, the modern part of the city, which is dated more the 19th century on. Bassa, so it means low. So you have all this white city low, and then the hill on the top, a more historical part. Yeah, and that's why basically I moved here.
Wow, lovely. So, and tell us about your work now. What is a Liceo musicale? What is it exactly that you do?
Liceo musicale, it's for Italy, it's a kind of new school, because we had few Liceo musicali in Italy already in the past, but it was experimental school, we call it. So it was like an experiment, you know? So the students that were following the conservatory most of the time, and having during the morning, you know, all the subjects that are typical from a lyceum. So mathematics, science, literature, etc., etc. 10 years ago, they decided to take those examples and to make it on a permanent state. And they open up not so many, actually, like maybe 100 in all country, more or less, 100 licei musicali. And then they change a little bit the subject and how it's organized. And it's a school that actually gives the access to all the university. So when you actually start your study, you are 13 years old, and you finish after 5 years when you are 18, and you can decide if you want to continue to follow the musical career. Then you can go to the conservatory. You can actually start already before and doing the two schools together, or you can also do something else and go to any university.
And what have your students done so far? What do they generally pursue after finishing the Liceo musicale?
It's, I would say, 50-50. So most of the time we have more or less 50% that decided to continue the study in the conservatory, and not necessarily with the instrument. There are also few that started with composing or electronic music, or other musical schools, not specific the conservatory, but other music schools, and maybe 50% that still play the instrument, still love the music, still have the music education and music brain, let's call it, but they do something else. So other studies, university, and
okay. So we have a question from Professor Lino Rivera of St. Mary's College of California. Lino.
Hello, Roberto. It's very fascinating what you are all telling us here with your experiences. I'm just curious, why the Netherlands? Why did you go to the Netherlands? There are so many places that you could study saxophone. And the second question is, what exactly did you study? Did you study, of course, the performance? Did you also study composition, arranging, conducting? Just tell us more about it.
Yeah, I try to be as condensate and short and clear. Once again, the first question, why Amsterdam? It was a case. Why? Because I had a really good friend, Guido De Flavis, also saxophone player. And we studied together in Milan. So I started my study in the conservatory in Milan, and I graduated there, where I also studied a bit of composition. And he left at the end of the studies to go to Amsterdam, to the Netherlands. And after 6th, 7th month, he told me, you know, here I feel good. It's a good school. And why don't you come just to, you know, to see? I say, no, you know, but I'm finishing here this year, and then I don't know if I want to settle up here in Milan. I moved. I went there for 1 week, and I felt completely in love with the city, and I felt also good with the teacher. Of course, I didn't know if I was actually able to enter in the school, because of course you need to do entrance exam, like every conservatory. And the level, it's quite high. It was also high in Milan, but also in Amsterdam, you have to feel the international flavor that has that city. Yeah, I think I knew then people from 20 different nationalities. It's really easy to to reach that number. And the funny thing is that my friend, after 2 years, when he finished, he moved in Greek, so in another country again, and I stayed there after. And indeed, I was there for almost 12 years, 11 years and a half. And I also start to study conducting, and I learned the language. And I felt also in love with the culture of Amsterdam. Yeah, so that's why I moved. So yeah.
Okay, so let's tell us about what we're going to see now, a video of your work at the Liceo Musicale.
Terra, che il Serio bagna e il Brembo inonda, che monti e valli mostra all'una mano, e dall'altra il tuo verde, e largo piano, or ampia, ed or sublime, ed or profonda. Perch'io cercassi pur di sponda in sponda Nilo, Istro, Gange, os'altro è più lontano, o mar da terra chiuso, o l'oceano, che d'ogni intorno lui cinge e circonda.
Riveder non potrei parte più cara e gradita di te, da cui mi venne in riva al gran Tirren famoso padre, che fra l'arme cantò rime leggiadre, benché la fama tua pur si rischiara e si dispiega al ciel con altre penne.
Okay, so what exactly, what's the background? Why did you make that video, and what's it about? What's the poetry? Why the music? What's happening there?
Well, first of all,
And I think you need to
probably-
change your microphone, Roberto.
No, I think it was right, Simeon. Can you hear me well? Because I didn't play, so I left it like it was. Is it good? The audio?
Excuse me, it's fine. It was my mistake.
Okay,
Yes,
okay, no, just tell me. Okay. Well, first of all, you know, I think what happened. Well, now pandemic, it's everywhere, but of course, what happened last year in Bergamo and in north of Italy, we were one of the first country to face with this terrible COVID-19, and we closed. We had lockdown with the school already in February 2020. So all the lessons and all the activity, after 1 week already, we started immediately online with all the problems we had. But we were able at least to keep a line, to keep a connection with our students. Of course, I planned at the beginning of the school year to have this saxophone ensemble, to do our rehearsal, to do our project, our little concert for the city here, and we needed to rethink every single activity. So we had a first very nice video last year with Donizetti music, and we had also many articles here in the local media, and we decided to do another video this year because, of course, the lockdown, we also have it not all the school year, luckily, but we had it in November and also in February again. So what I was doing with the student was actually record every single line, every single voice in their own room, and then I was able to mix together the voices of the instruments, and maybe I needed some video again because the sound was not so good, or the intonation needed to be better, or the tempo was not right. So it was a learning process as well, not only for the student, but also for me as a teacher. This one is the first video we made last year. And in this second video, we decided together, because it was also, this one, it's a result of a brainstorm I had with the student. Okay, what we do now, we do again the same, like recording a collective video, or we do something different. And we find this wonderful poem from Tasso, which is an Italian old writer, and it wasn't from Bergamo, but it was completely in love with the city. And when he came here, when he was really young, he really liked the landscape, the nature, also the people. There are many letters of him mentioning the city as really something he has in his heart. And he wrote this very simple sonetto, and it's all about, here it's a wonderful city, and I like the people, of course, in a much more better word than mine. So I decided, together with the students, to take this poem and to put as a background images of cities, of Città Bassa, Città Alta, and the music. The first piece is, of course, Donizetti, which is a composer from Bergamo. And then we finished with Brahms, the first symphony, because it was a piece that really melted good together, we thought. And that's the rest.
So then the newspapers found out about what you were doing, and the sax ensemble and the work from your Liceo musicale was very well received by the public. It was well received because I think for many reasons, of course, because we like to see young people busy with growing and making music and try to get the best out of the light. But it's also because, especially in that period, in the first lockdown, but also now, we needed a hope message. We really needed, Bergamo was really, really deeply down in the feelings of the people, because of this pandemic. It was really hard. It was really hard, because you have to think that this city invests a lot in the last 10 years, especially in tourism. We have the third bigger airport of the country, and all the things went completely down, and only COVID-19, everything about that, ambulance and all this, and to see that the students that were trying to fight and try to get out of this, even though if they have also in their own family, also victim, also people that died because of that, it was a release, and it was really a hope message. That's why I think it was really well received by everyone. And how have your students dealt with this pandemic and everything? Have you noticed a big difference?
Yeah, of course. It's luckily human beings are really able to adapt. That's what our maybe best thing we have, no? But of course, it's not easy for a teenager, especially. You have to think it's already an age where you sometimes you close up already automatically because you are changing, you are becoming an adult, and on the top of it, you are also closed inside in a room because you cannot go out, you cannot visit your friends, you cannot go with your girlfriend or boyfriend, and of course they were affected. Of course they were. I do think that our students were a little bit luckier than others because they had music, and they had at least something to grab, you know, to keep going. And of course, I noticed changes also in the quality of the lessons, in the results I've got. I mean, I cannot lie. I cannot say, oh, it went everything well and perfect. It's not true. But they were able to fight. I like to use this verb actually against all this, and I think it's really because of the music. Yeah.
Okay, let's take another look at another video.
Prof, ma il concerto?
Great, fantastic. So that's, you must be very proud of your students having such courage to go forward, to do such new things.
Yeah, it was also a nice challenge. Of course, this one, it was also a little bit ironic, like you probably already got the sense of this video that with the lockdown, we were busy with all the activity you can do at home. So also taking care of the garden was one of those. So we decided to make it a little bit funnier because the hardest moment were off. This one, it was already May. So we were able to put some ironic message as well. So like I was forgetting about the concert, and then we played this piece with the same system. Actually, it's also really a school, the Liceo Musicale, complete because you learn actually two different instruments. So you have your first instrument, that is the one that you already play when you enter the school. You also do a little entrance exams, and then you learn to play another instrument. So you have two different instruments to play. One monodic, so that is able to produce one sound like saxophone, and one polyphonic, so like piano, guitar, organ. And you also have music technology. They got this subject for 2 hours per week for 5 years. And in this subject, they learn to use all the things that has to do with sounds, with electronic, and also they are able to work with this editing program. And this one, the symphonic orchestra one, was basically put together by the students self, the fourth and the fifth class. They were taking care of putting all together the audio, and are more than 40, 45, I think, different lines, putting together the images and mixing all these. And I think they did a good job coordinating with the teacher, of course, with their own teacher. But what I like about this school, it's also this, that it's not only focused on instrumental part, but it's really wide. Yeah.
So actually the students are responsible for producing that video.
Yes, we have also in Italy here, it's compulsory for every lyceum, every school, it's to have also an amount of hour. I think they are 90 hours spread in 3 years of, we call it alternanza, which means doing all these activities. So you can go to work somewhere with music, with giving lessons, or you can produce something like you are doing like in the real life, okay? To get a work, to get a commission, doing something. And this one was part of the activity. So they had like a package of hours to dedicate to produce this video. Yeah.
Understood. Fantastic. So Roberto, I read that you have some Bach you're going to play for us.
Yeah. Maybe it's nice to, what do you prefer? I can ask to the participant to have a slow Bach, a slow piece like Sarabanda, or you wanted to have something more spicy like the Bourrée. You can decide.
Or you can play both.
Okay. It's this one is the saxophone reed, and we need to keep it always a little bit wet, otherwise it doesn't sound.
some old music, a lot of applause going on, some old music on a new instrument. Fantastic. So tell us, Roberto, as a final thought, what do you hope for your students? What do you wish for each one of your students after this difficult time? And as we know, you have only been teaching there for a few years. What do you hope for in the future? What do you hope for them now? What do you hope for them in the future?
I really hope they can be happy, and they can bring happiness through music to other people. That's the biggest hope I have for them. Music is something that need to be done by artists, by musicians, by people, and needs also to be listened by listener. So I really hope they can bring this message from one side of the podium or to the other side of the podium, but they can really, use the music and enjoy the music.
And is that possible as amateurs as well as professionals, or only possible if they become music professionals?
No, I don't think so. I see many amateur musicians that are really glad and happy to play an instrument, to sing. So it's absolutely also possible to do it as amateur musicians. And once you have an education in that period of your life, when you are a teenager, it will remain, I think, forever. Anyway, even if you are just going to close your instrument case forever, the way your brain it's developed, it will always keep music. So absolutely, it's possible. Yeah.
And that was our show last week with Indre Viscontas about how music can make you better and develop your brain through active music participation. So Roberto, you would say that's your mission actually at the Liceo Musicale, what you just told us right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big challenge, but of course, if you see it in a smaller perspective, I just try to make people better playing their own instrument, because this is primarily my aim. But of course, if you see it wider, and if you see from a wider perspective, it's what I'm trying to do actually. Yeah.
Lovely. Professor Lino Rivera has a question. Lino?
Just a quick question, Roberto. That was superb. You are a real virtuoso musician. Beautiful and excellently played. I'm just wondering, which suite of Bach was that, and who was the transcriber?
Well, actually, this is a partita of Bach. So it's we used to play, and also I'm also a baritone player. Well, tonight I am just soprano and alto. So we do play the Bach suite absolutely with the alto and also with the baritone. They are nice because it's the same key, the same note of the cello. But in this case, it's a partita for flute. So you know that Bach also wrote plenty of partitas for violin, and there is one for flute, the 1013. And it's transcribed by saxophone by Alain Bouhet. So, and this one was indeed the Sarabanda and the Bourrée Anglais. So the last two movements of the Bourrée, of the partita.
Okay. Fantastic. So let's see how we can stay in touch with Roberto. We have his website here, robertogenova.com. I'll put that in the chat room. So Roberto, anybody can reach out to you and write to you, ask you about your work. Is that right?
Absolutely.
So I'm looking here, contact, there it is. Wonderful. So info@robertogenova.com, and they can reach out to you about your work or about enrolling their kids at your school, or saxophone lessons or visiting Bergamo, wonderful. So there it is, robertogenova.com. So
Thank you,
thank
Simon,
you
for sharing
so much to Roberto. Thank you very much for this sharing all of your mission and your talents and your students' talents with us.
Thank you, Simeon, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Lino, for the questions, and thanks to this audience and this public that was able to share what I'm trying to give with music.
So let's take a look at next week. We have the Vienna State Opera's Young Artist Program. One of the world's most prestigious opera houses now aims to become an institution of reference for singer training. As the Young Artist Program completes its first season, surely a season unlike any other, as Roberto has pointed out to us, let's check in with the program's leadership, baritone Michael Kraus, and hear what the young artists have been working on. As always, all information about upcoming shows may be found at www.simeonmoro.com. So that's next Wednesday, the Vienna State Opera's Young Artist Program, joined by the leader of the program, Michael Kraus, and his young artists. Wonderful. So once again, thank you, Roberto. Thank you very much to Professor Lino Rivera. Thanks most of all to you, our participants, who make it all worthwhile.
Thank you.
So from Vienna, Austria, from Bergamo, Italy, from the Bay Area, California, goodbye and see you next week.
Bye-bye.